I've been lucky enough to run the New York City Marathon twice before. Once around 20 years ago when I ran a 4:17, and again in 2023 when I ran a 2:43, both of which were unforgettable, amazing, life-changing experiences. The race is one of my all-time favourite races. The atmosphere, the course, the camaraderie, the crowds, 50,000 runners heading through all 5 boroughs of the truly remarkable New York City. A city that just lives and breathes running. It's so good, but ultimately it's the wonderful, diverse people that make up the city, and the energy out on the course really is unrivaled. You're in for quite a ride out there over those 26.2 beautiful miles. So today I wanted to share with you everything you need to know about the New York City Marathon, so you can go out there and run your very best and have the most amazing race day experience. Right, starting out, we're going to chat about everything you need to know before the race. So once you get to New York City, you're going to need to head down to the Jacob Javits Convention Center for the expo. This is open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and you need to go onto your New York Roadrunners account to select a time slot when you're going to pick up your bib. The convention center is absolutely massive on the west side of Manhattan, and it's really easily accessible by so many different subway lines. You need to bring some photo ID with you and your runner's confirmation email as well to pick up your bib, and you need to do this. You can't nominate anybody else to go and pick up your number. It needs to be the runner themselves that goes to pick it up. One thing that's really unique about New York City, and I've hardly ever seen this before, is there is no pre-race gear check at the start line. So if you want to have a bag to pick up at the finish line, then you must check this bag in to the volunteers in Central Park at Rumsey Playfield before the race starts. And I'm pretty sure you can do this on Friday and Saturday between 9 and 5 before the race. This has to be in the official gear check bag. So just to reiterate, there is no transportation of any items from the starting line back to the finish. What you take to the starting line, you're either going to have to run with or leave there to put it in the trash, the garbage, or to be recycled. And if you do want this pre-race gear check bag dropped off in Central Park, you need to have pre-selected this in your New York Roadrunners account prior to getting there on race day. Now, there is a list of prohibited items for runners, the main ones being hydration vests. If they have a bladder in the back, you're allowed to have a vest that's got up-front bottles only. I'll put an example up on the screen now of what New York Roadrunners recommend for a hydration vest if you want to use one in the race. Right, the atmosphere is building, you've got your number. Let's chat all about the start line. And I should warn you guys that getting to the start line takes quite a long time. You're going to have a very early start to get down there for that around about 9 a.m. start. But with everything New York City Marathon, it is a very slick and well organized process. When you enter the race, you'll have pre-selected to either get to the start line by a bus, which goes from the center of Manhattan all the way to the start line. Now, where this bus goes from changes a bit year to year, so look it up where it goes from. Or you can choose to catch the Staten Island ferry from the bottom of Manhattan over to Staten Island and then catch another bus just for the small remaining bit to get you to the start line. Personally, both times I've done it, I've chosen to catch the Staten Island ferry just because it's more of a fun experience in my opinion. You get to see some amazing views of Manhattan as the sun is coming up, although when I crossed it was quite early, it was still pitch black, plus seeing things like the Statue of Liberty there, and you've just generally got a bit more space to move around, have your breakfast and relax, but it is pretty cold at that time of day though, so make sure you've taken your throwaway clothes to keep warm on the ferry crossing and at the start line. Then when you get off the ferry, you'll be headed into some waiting lines here, and then you'll get on some of the school buses that will then shuttle you to the main starting area for everyone on the marathon. Once you get there, there'll be a lot of security to greet you. You'll be frisked by the New York police officers and some of the extra security people there, just like you would at an airport. They're going to check you're not bringing anything in you shouldn't be, but it's fairly straightforward, really professional, and they'll look after you very well. And then once you're there, you can just relax and chill. Now, for reference, I left my Airbnb to get down to start line at 4:47 in the morning. I caught a 405 train down Manhattan to get on the Staten Island ferry at 5:30 in the morning, which got me to my starting pen after doing the little bus as well at 7 o'clock in the morning after that bus transfer. And I had a starting time of 9:10 a.m., which is when my corral Corral started. So I got there, about 2 hours before, which isn't too bad because when I ran it last year, the weather was really quite pleasant there in the morning. But I ran it previously, it was absolutely freezing. Things have changed quite a lot since then. And you've got loads of free bagels that are given out, coffee, sports drinks, usually something like Gatorade, and water as well. It's really superb. There's loads of portaloos, loads of space just to relax and chill out. You're not going to be needing to queue for a portaloo for very long at all. It's really well professionally done. Also, a really nice treat that I think I saw this at Boston as well. I'm not sure, but I definitely saw it in New York because here's the footage. They also have a lot of therapy dogs there. For anyone that's just a little bit nervous, anxiety creeping in, you can go and spend some time with some of the lovely dogs there just to relax. And it's just a nice environment to be in at the start. And there's so many volunteers in this holding area at the start to answer all your questions. They're all really knowledgeable and the usual American way, very bubbly and very enthusiastic. If you're ever unsure, your start wave, your color, and your corral are all going to be on your race number. Then everybody gathers together in your corral so you can start doing some warm-ups, leave anything behind that you don't want to run with. And as I said earlier in the video, there's no transportation of anything from the start back to the finish. So you're either going to run with it or you're going to recycle it here on the start line. A little top tip for everyone going to the starting area is take something to do. Modern people in 2024, everything, as soon as they're bored, they pick up their phone. If you don't want to run with your phone, you can't check it in anywhere. So you're going to have to run with it or don't take it at all. So maybe take a book or a newspaper. Again, something that you can discard. Now there's 3 different start lines. You'll either be on the top deck of the bridge or the bottom deck of the bridge. Of course, it's much more amazing to be on the top deck of the bridge. The views as you run over the start and up onto the bridge are just absolutely spectacular. Right, let's have a chat all about the course. So first things first, just to make this very clear, New York Marathon is a very tough marathon course and certainly not a classic PB route. Now don't worry, it's not something to be really petrified and scared about. You can still have an amazing run out there, but it's a little bit on the hilly side as classic marathon courses go. Personally, I think the course is a little bit harder than Boston. Have you done both? Let me know. But I just think the bridges in New York, and especially mile 23, which we'll come on to very shortly, potentially a little bit harder than Heartbreak Hill. I don't know. Have you done both races? Let me know what you think. So the route is all tarmac or asphalt, apart from a few concrete sections on the bridges. It's very, very smooth all the way, and also very, very wide, very sort of traditional American wide roads here. The start is staggered in corrals, so you'll hopefully have plenty of room. For me, when I started, I was really the first wave off at 9:10. The start line was very congested. I actually had to walk a couple of times during that first mile heading up the bridge. But it does soon open up, and then you're left with the hardest start, I think, of any marathon in the world, running up the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, which is just the most spectacular sight for a start of a marathon. So let's have a quick chat about some key points along the course. As I said, very uphill start. Running through Brooklyn around about mile 8 was just one of the loudest sections of any marathon I've ever run through. Those people in Brooklyn really know how to put on a party. That's something to really look forward to out on the course. There are 5 total bridges on the course here. The first one, that Verrazano Narrows Bridge, is definitely the steepest, but the one that most people are scared of is called the Queensborough Bridge, which is when you first go into Manhattan. It's a really tough, long climb up here, and it's eerily quiet with no spectators out there at all. You can just hear you and your breath and just begging for that top of the climb to come, wondering, why have I paid all this money? But then suddenly you reach the end of the bridge and then you drop steeply down onto First Avenue, and then all hell breaks loose. So that wall of sound, the cheers from the crowd running up First Avenue off this bridge are absolutely amazing. There are a couple of more nasty bridges. The bridge heading up into the Bronx is just when you're starting to get really, really tired after that really long run up First Avenue. But the people of the Bronx really come out, and the crowds are really a lot better than people had told me. I was really surprised when I ran it last year just how good the crowds were in the Bronx. And then before you know, it's time to head home back into Manhattan for the second time. And the final bridge is actually completely flat, so you don't have to worry about that one. But for me, the hardest point of the whole course was going up mile 23, running up Fifth Avenue, this bit beside Central Park. I actually went to check it out before the race, and it didn't look too bad. but try getting up there after 23 tough miles. But what welcomes you when you do finally get to the top of that really difficult climb is one of the most amazing finishes anywhere in marathon running. Running through the undulations of Central Park, the crowds, all those autumn colours, the skyscrapers, the noise, the reality hitting you that you're about to go and finish the New York Marathon. And then boom, the finish, getting your medal, getting your poncho, and just feeling absolutely amazing of what you've just accomplished, and just wondering, when can I go and do that all again? You forget about all those tough bridges you just run over, looking at your medal and just feeling really good. There's some other things to have a chat about with the course. There's mile markers every mile, as you probably expect with an American race, and then the K markers are every 5K. Now the GPS won't be the best. My Strava clocked at 26.43 miles or 42.5K with that dual band GPS turned on, so not too bad. If you're on the bottom deck of the bridge at the start, then it's probably going to be a bit more of an issue. The skyscrapers around Brooklyn, and when you're heading around Manhattan as well, crossing over the Queensbridge Bridge, there's going to be no GPS reception. Nothing you can really do about this, just use your lap splits on your watch, which is what we normally recommend. The elevation I got was 310 meters or just over 1,000 feet. Quite a lot compared to, say, something like Berlin, which was just 61 meters or 200 feet. But yeah, nothing to be like really worried about, so don't panic too much. It's amazing fun. Pacing groups, we've got 3 hours to 6 hours. They have these distinctive blue and white vests on, so check them out in your corral if you want to run with them. They run a pretty even pace. There's so much medical assistance out on the course as well, in the very unlikely event that you're going to need to call on that. And then fluid stations every mile between 3 and 25, apart from 5, 7 and 9. I'm not sure what happens there, but really you're only going to be never more than a couple of miles away from getting some liquid on board. And then gels are available at miles 12 and miles 18 as well. As we always say, please take your own, use what you've used in training rather than what they're giving out on the course, because 2 gel stop really isn't enough. And there's also toilets every single mile as well. So medical stations, water stations, Gatorade stations and toilets pretty much every mile throughout the whole course. So you shouldn't have anything to worry about with getting those supplies out when you need them. And then finally, the finish line stays open till 10 p.m. regardless of the time you started your race. So yeah, it's pretty generous as these big marathons go. So it should be more than enough time for everyone to get round. Right, let's have a chat about everything after the race. So after you cross the finish line, it does take quite a long time, a bit longer than expected, to get out of that main finishing area. You'll get your medal, they'll give you a poncho as well to keep warm, to pick up your bag you checked in, if you did check one in before the race, and then you can get out after that sort of longish walk to meet your friends and family. After the race, me and my girlfriend just went and hung out in Central Park to watch people coming in with about a mile to go. It's just amazing atmosphere, so many crowds. We just love getting out there, supporting everybody as they're just about to finish their race. Right, I've just got some quick fire points to go through on my list here. First one being, put your name on your top while you're running. New Yorkers love to scream your name as you go past. It will really help add to that motivation. Plan for 2 breakfasts. As I said, I left the flat where we were staying, the Airbnb, at 4:47. Already started my breakfast, but I didn't start my run till after 9 o'clock in the morning. So eating something around about 5 a.m. is not going to be enough really to get you through the whole race. For me, I just nibbled on bagels pretty much all morning. The bridge and the start line can get pretty cold if it is a bit of a colder November day, so you may want to take some gloves. As I say, just take a lot of stuff down with you to the start if it's going to be cold, because you're just very exposed there on the start line. Just take those bridges through the course super easy as you go along. Just take a moment to chill out, enjoy the views, just take in the amazing experience you're going through. It's just time to take stock and just think, I'm out here running the New York Marathon, this is amazing. But that 5th Avenue climb around at mile 23, that's what you want to be saving that little bit of energy for, because by the time you crest the top of that, it's just amazing running back down through the park to the finish. And then finally, this really is one of the absolute best marathons in the world, just to go out and enjoy. For a lot of people, it isn't about running a very fast time out there. If it is for you, that's fantastic. And if you just out there to enjoy it and have an amazing time, that is fantastic as well. I guarantee you're just going to have a most amazing day out there. If you want to check out my full race day vlog of me taking the GoPro around and running 2:43 at the New York Marathon last year, then check out that video up here. Best of luck. Let me know how you get on. That's it, guys. Keep on working hard. Keep on done. Enjoy the amazing New York Marathon, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.